Vincent was trapped in the burning apartment. I suffered extensive burns over my body trying to save him. He was moved and told me he would love me forever, so we got married. In the 3rd year of our marriage, I died from a severe infection. Before I drew my last breath, I looked at Vincent one final time and found that he had clearly let out a sigh of relief. A slender, graceful hand rested on his shoulder. "Vincent, you've put up with so much for her for 3 years, married a woman who's neither fully human nor spirit, you've done more than enough. Don't be sad anymore." Vincent clasped the hand and sighed. "Ah, perhaps this is her fate. These past 3 years, you've worked hard." When I opened my eyes again, I was back to 2 days before the fire. This time, I chose to respect his fate and let him be with his first love. Inside the KTV private room, Vincent's friend was belting out, "I'd rather die than not love." Everyone around was giggling and laughing nonstop. The air conditioning in the room was so strong that I couldn't help but shiver. I lowered my head and inspected my smooth, unmarked hands, not a single finger missing, no ugly scars. Then I hastily took out my phone and turned on the screen, May 18, 2022, 2 days before the fire. I reached up and touched my face. Good. I hadn't turned into someone I couldn't even stand to look at. Vincent, who had been busy taking care of his ex-girlfriend Sophia beside him, finally noticed me. He frowned at me and leaned close to my ear, warning, "What's wrong with you? We're out having fun, why are you crying? It isn't because of Sophia, is it? I told you in advance." Sophia twisted her wrist helping me carry something, so I was the one bringing her water and fruit. "Don't give her that look. Sophia is a sensitive girl. If you act like that, she'll feel too embarrassed to accept my help today." I looked up at Vincent, handsome with a boyish charm. No wonder I fell for him back then. The man before me now showed none of the weariness I'd expected after marriage, his eyes held only burning passion. Too bad that intense feeling wasn't for me. I hadn't said a word, just made a wrong face, and Vincent immediately worried Sophia might be hurt. How ridiculous that in my previous life I was blinded by love and failed to see his true heart. Seeing that I wasn't speaking, Vincent impatiently reached out to wipe away my tears. "All right, stop it. Which one do you want? I'll get it for you, okay?" His grip was strong. I felt a sting of burning pain across my skin. That pain instantly triggered all those painful memories, and I reflexively flinched backward. Vincent's hand awkwardly froze in the air. At this moment, Sophia, looking pitiful, moved closer. "Bella, are you upset because of me? What happened between Vincent and me? It's all in the past. If you mind." She bit her lip, cast a reluctant glance at Vincent, and then a tear slipped down. Then I. Before she could finish, Sophia choked and couldn't speak. Vincent, a little pained, wrapped an arm around her shoulders and carefully, gently wiped her tears, not at all like the rough way he had wiped my tears a moment ago. "What nonsense are you talking? There's nothing improper between us. There's nothing wrong with a perfectly innocent, open relationship. There's no need to avoid it." Then Vincent turned to glare at me, his tone commanding, "Bella, apologize to Sophia." Thinking of the sight on my deathbed in my last life, Sophia and Vincent wrapped in each other's arms, biting at each other, I couldn't help but wonder whether during those rare moments of passion last time, Vincent was always calling out Sophia's name. Had he been treating me as Sophia's stand-in? At the thought, I felt a wave of nausea. My dry heave made Vincent's face go dark in an instant. "Bella, what do you mean?" Sophia's face grew even uglier. She reached out and nudged Vincent, looping his arm around hers, but the movement was light. Vincent tightened his hold instead. Her cheeks flushed, and her eyes hid an unmistakable smugness. "Bella, don't be like that. Vincent Gidge and I really have nothing going on. Sophia, Vincent and I were all in the same grade, though she started school a year earlier, so she was a year younger than us. But there were classmates 2 or 3 years younger than us too, and you never saw them going around calling people brother or sister." I swallowed the nausea rising in my throat and said coldly, "Stop inventing family ties. As for whatever you two have going on, you know the truth in your own hearts, no need to put on a show for me. Hearing me, Sophia's eyes immediately filled with tears. She reached out and nudged Vincent again. Stay away from me, she said. I don't want people talking about me behind my back. Vincent frowned, holding Sophia's arm motionless, protecting her in his embrace as if he were her boyfriend. 03. He looked at me with a cold expression. Bella, do you have to make such an unreasonable scene today? Sophia has been accommodating you again and again, taking care of your mood, and you still deliberately pick on her? Don't you know how important a girl's reputation is? What do you mean by saying that? Or do you think that if I'm dating you, I can't have any friends of the opposite sex? Don't use your filthy thoughts to defile our relationship. At that moment, Vincent's friend stopped singing too, looking at me with unfriendly eyes. Not to be rude, Bella, but you're being a bit dramatic. It's only because Vincent has a good temper that he can put up with you. Exactly. Sophia and we've been friends for 7 years, we met in 10th grade. Just because you and Vincent are dating doesn't mean Sophia is forbidden from hanging out with us, right? You knew about their past before you started dating Vincent. Getting mad about it all the time is just pointless now. Vincent's friends had always been very displeased with me. I only found out because I overheard them complaining about me to Vincent by chance. By then, I was burned all over and my face was unrecognizable, so I avoided going out and didn't want to see anyone. But Vincent ignored my wishes and invited his friends over to drink. Through the gap in the not quite closed door, I heard Vincent and his friends smoking and drinking. Someone mentioned Sophia, and then they started taking digs at me. Vincent, I really feel sorry for you. You're so wonderful, and you ended up marrying someone who could frighten ghosts. You and Sophia are such a perfect match, when even your surnames go together like that. Honestly, I think Sophia divorced for you. She often asks around about how you're doing. I can tell she still loves you. You're not really going to spend your life with Bella, are you? That face, waking up to it in the morning would be a nightmare. By then it had been 3 years since I was burned. After countless painful reconstructions, my face was still unbearable to look at. I felt with my left hand, missing 3 fingers, the rough, chafing skin of my face and waited quietly for Vincent's answer. Vincent was silent for a long time. The living room was unusually quiet, I could even hear the sound of him flicking ash from his cigarette. Finally he sighed, after all, she saved my life. Vincent's friend immediately retorted, then you don't need to spend the rest of your life repaying her, do you? Just pay for skin grafts and cosmetic surgery for her. There's no need to give up your whole life. Every time I see the way Sophia looks at you, I feel you're in the wrong. It's such a pity for Sophia, you'll never meet a woman who loves you like that again. You didn't start dating Bella in the first place because she looked like Sophia? Hearing that, my breath hitched and my heart seized with pain. Was I a substitute for Sophia? Her face is burned like this now, there's not a trace of Sophia left. If you want to say they're alike, it's only in the name. I really didn't expect that after Sophia found a boyfriend, Vincent would turn around and bring home a Sophia 2.0, it gave me a fright. That's an insult to Sophia. She doesn't deserve the title 2.0, she isn't even comparable to Sophia's toenails. Vincent's friend judged me from head to toe right in front of him, but Vincent acted as if he hadn't heard a word, silently puffing on his cigarette. I felt as if my heart had shattered into pieces. Just when I thought that was the limit of my agony, I heard a truth that made me suffer even more unbearably. All right, don't go overboard. After all, Bella did save Vincent. If Sophia hadn't gotten drunk and gone to Vincent's apartment and started the fire, Bella wouldn't have ended up burned like this. Are you blaming Sophia? That's not what I mean, but you have to admit, if Sophia hadn't been drunk, waving a bottle and a lighter and threatening Vincent to get back together with him right away, the apartment wouldn't have caught fire. Enough. Vincent's impatient voice cut in. What's the point of talking about this? Come on. Drinks. We're not leaving sober tonight. I felt as if I'd fallen into an ice pit, so the 3 years of my living in what was essentially hell, the real, bone-deep pain, was all merely because of this pair of young lovers playing at getting back together? From the next stream of loose talk from those drunks, I pieced together the truth of the matter. Sophia and Vincent dated for a year, but she dumped Vincent for a senior who had been pursuing her. Humiliated by being dumped, Vincent turned and set his sights on me. I was moved by how earnestly Vincent courted me, so I agreed. But Vincent's relationship with someone else stirred Sophia's urge to conquer, so she immediately broke up with the senior and turned right back to flirt with Vincent. Vincent was afraid that if he agreed to Sophia she would abandon him again, so he used me to keep Sophia's attention fixed on him, binding her heart and body to him. Angry that Vincent refused to break up with me, Sophia got drunk and went to find him on May 20th. She held the bottle and a lighter, threatening Vincent that if he refused to get back together with her she'd light the booze right in front of him. Unexpectedly, when a flustered Vincent knocked her over onto the floor, the lighter suddenly exploded and actually ignited the alcohol spilled everywhere. The two of them, tangled together, didn't notice at first. Only when the flames grew out of control did they panic and call 911 to put out the fire. Just then I arrived with the carefully prepared $520 gift for Vincent. Seeing his apartment on fire, I first called the firefighters, then wrapped myself in a soaked blanket, grabbed a fire extinguisher, and rushed in to rescue him. I found Vincent and Sophia on the stairwell to the second floor. I didn't even have time to ask Sophia why she was there. I was too busy using the fire extinguisher to clear a path for them. But Vincent took the extinguisher from me, said he'd lead the way with Sophia right behind him, and told me to bring the blanket and follow at the rear to break the trail. When we reached the ground floor lobby, the ceiling suddenly collapsed and fell away, and the flames from the second floor came down with it. Walking at the front, Vincent was the most likely to get hit. Sophia screamed and dodged to the side, leaving only Vincent, who hadn't noticed any of it, still walking forward. So I, disregarding my own safety, rushed up and pushed him away, and I was the one who got struck. When I woke, I was already in the hospital. Vincent sat by my bedside with tear-red eyes, earnestly telling me he loved me and would take care of the rest of my life. After I was discharged, we got married, only the registration, no wedding, because I didn't want to see anyone. Vincent agreed without hesitation. For 3 years after the marriage, I did not set foot outside the house except to go to the hospital for treatment. Vincent's patience with me at first gradually gave way. Later he began using social engagements and business trips as excuses to stay out all night. That fire not only left me with severe burns all over my body, it also cost me my right hand, and the only remaining hand was reduced to 2 fingers. Without someone else's help, I found it very hard to do things that seem simple to others, like bathing myself or cooking. Vincent had originally hired a helper to take care of me, but when Sophia visited our home and was frightened by my appearance, Vincent used it as an excuse to dismiss her. At the time he said the auntie had been rude to Sophia and he was afraid that she would be two-faced, kind in front of him but negligent in caring for me behind his back, so he dismissed her. He said he would find a more suitable caregiver for me, but until I died, I never saw him arrange anyone to look after me. Looking back now, it must have been because my appearance frightened Sophia, so he deliberately fired the auntie to get revenge on me. If someone had been caring for me, perhaps I wouldn't have died from a severe infection. I hadn't seen Vincent in the 6 months before I died. It wasn't until I mustered enough breath to call 911 that, after the hospital notified him, he came to see me one last time. Looking at me, barely alive on the hospital bed, Vincent visibly exhaled, "You saved me, I married you, we're even now. Bella, your life hasn't been good in this lifetime. I hope you have a better fate in the next." Sophia had come with him to the hospital. She put an arm around Vincent's shoulder and looked at him with pity. "Vincent, you put up with so much for her for 3 years. You married someone who's neither fully human nor ghost. What you did was more than enough. Don't be sad anymore." For her, we had to keep our 3-year secret relationship underground. People who don't know the inside story even think I'm the other woman. Sophia was something else too. Clearly we married the same year, she only got divorced last year, and yet she and Vincent had been having a secret 3-year affair. Both of them are habitual scumbags. Vincent reached out and pulled Sophia into his arms, eyes full of pity. You've suffered. From now on I'll make it up to you properly. I wasn't even dead yet, and the two of them were already snuggling and making out at the foot of my bed. I was so angry I wanted to take a knife and cut them down. My luck in this life is terrible. The worst thing is that I met those two bitches. In the end, I felt like they had literally angered me to death. Thinking this, the hatred in my eyes grew stronger. I stood up abruptly, picked up the nearby wine glass and splashed it into Vincent's face. Vincent, are you dead? Your friends are important, so your girlfriend can be casually accused and insulted, right? Whoever ends up as your girlfriend must be cursed for 8 generations. We're breaking up. Return the 500,000 yuan you borrowed from me right now. Last month Vincent said he was starting a business and borrowed the 500,000 yuan I had saved from writing novels since high school. He once promised that if the startup succeeded he would give me some shares. But in my last life the version of him who actually did succeed never mentioned that promise. Even my later medical and living expenses came from the residual income of my novels, and that money wasn't enough to hire a caregiver. Hearing me bring up money, Vincent, who had been nonchalant about the breakup until then, immediately went pale. Bella, my patience has limits. Sophia snapped. Bella, don't you know using money to manipulate a man is the stupidest thing? Vincent is your boyfriend, and you didn't give him any face in front of all these people. You're going too far. Vincent's friends joined in accusing me. Bella, are you serious? Vincent treats you so well, and you publicly humiliate him? Exactly, I'm starting to wonder if you really love Vincent. I cut them off flatly. Treat me well? Give me one example. An eerie silence fell over the private room. I sneered. Can't come up with an answer? Don't you feel guilty when you say he loved me? Since you all protect Vincent so much, I suppose you'd be happy to pay me the 500,000 yuan for him, right? When I mentioned the money, everyone went even quieter. Only Sophia's eyes burned with hatred toward me. Couples don't go around talking about money all the time, Bella. Vincent asked to borrow the money and you willingly gave it. It's all been invested in the company now, and you coming to ask for it back, aren't you just trying to make trouble? Vincent sighed. I know we've wronged you today. Can I apologize to you on everyone's behalf? They were just upset and said the wrong things. Vincent stood up and took my hand, guiding me back onto the sofa. Don't you like pistachios? Sit properly and I'll shell them for you, okay? I didn't resist. Obediently I sat down, eating the pistachios Vincent fed me, and shot a smug glance at Sophia. Suddenly I wondered, if I broke up with Vincent now, would the fire still happen the day after tomorrow? I needed that fire to happen on schedule. I had to make Vincent taste the suffering I endured in my past life too. So now not only can I not break up with Vincent, I also have to provoke Sophia into going to the apartment to find Vincent again. Sophia's face immediately darkened. She stood up, wiped her tears, and ran off. Vincent instantly stood up wanting to chase her. I cleared my throat and looked at him coldly. Where do you think you're going? Vincent stared anxiously at the door but didn't dare take another step forward. Sophia is sensitive. I'm afraid something might happen to her. I shrugged indifferently. Fine, go chase her then, but pay me back before you step out this door. After we split clean, you can chase whoever you want. Money, 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 money. Vincent exploded. Is that all you see? How did I never realize you were such a mercenary woman? Vincent looked at me with disappointment. You've changed. You weren't like this before, you weren't so materialistic. Now all you ever talk about is money. I refused to accept Vincent's PUA. Haven't you changed? The man who used to prattle on about starting his own business now wants to live off a woman? When you were chasing me you said you'd love only me and keep your distance from other women. And where is the proof? I've never seen a boyfriend abandon his girlfriend to take care of the women he calls his sisters. At first when I mocked Vincent for mooching off women his face went dark enough to scare, but when I finally brought up again how he took care of Sophia, his anger was instantly replaced by smugness. He thought I was being unreasonable out of jealousy. Vincent looked at me helplessly. Bella, how many times do I have to explain it to you? What Sophia and I have is brother-sister affection. Please stop being jealous for no reason, okay? I can't break up with Vincent yet, so I took the ladder down and mumbled, fine, I'll believe you one more time. The smugness in Vincent's eyes grew. I'll walk you back to school first. We were now seniors, with only a month left before graduation. I had planned to take this $500,000 and decide where to buy a house after I started work, depending on the job location, so for now I was still living in the dorm. After we left the private room, through the slightly ajar door I heard the once dead silent room start to attack me again. TSK, you were just being so righteous back there, and now look, one word from Vincent and she obediently shut up? With a personality like hers, she'll be dumped sooner or later. Sophia's gentle and sweet, now that's lovable. Not an ounce of backbone, I bet every bone in him is soft. They knew I could hear, they said it on purpose for me to hear. I could hear it, and so could Vincent beside me, of course, but he acted as if he hadn't, continuing on his way. After taking me back to the dorm, Vincent turned and left, probably off to find Sophia. In the middle of the night, my phone received a picture Sophia had sent, Vincent lying on a hotel bed, shirtless from the waist up. Quickly, Sophia retracted it, she wouldn't leave a blemish on the carefully cultivated image of an innocent, harmless little white flower. But I didn't care about any of that, after all, she didn't have long to act haughty anyway. Still, to provoke her, on the 19th I clung deliberately to Vincent, making him run errands to buy things for me, feed me, and then used a triumphant look to taunt Sophia, who kept trailing behind us. Even though Vincent could tell I was doing it on purpose, he enjoyed watching two women compete for his attention, especially since my behavior made Sophia cling to him even more. He instead became utterly compliant with me. I looped my arm through Vincent's and acted coy. Vincent, tomorrow's Valentine's Day. How about celebrating at your place? You prepare a candlelit dinner for the two of us, and I'll give you a big present. After I finished speaking, I winked at Vincent. Sophia, sitting beside us, looked like she was about to contort, she practically squeezed the words out through her teeth, shameless. I feigned puzzlement and looked up at her. What did you say? Sophia tugged at the corner of her mouth. I said you two are really close. I smiled and accepted Sophia's compliment. Sophia, you too, you can't give up on love just because you met a jerk. You should find a boyfriend as well. When I said that, Vincent protested first. Sophia's still young, no rush. Don't go giving bad advice. Sophia smiled sweetly when she heard Vincent say that. I watched the two of them exchanging glances with a cold eye, only hoping they would still be able to laugh after tomorrow night. On the day of May 20th I still stuck to Vincent like glue, never more than a step away. I could tell that the closer it got to evening, the more anxious Vincent became, probably trying to think of an excuse to get rid of me. So I took an alarm clock and pretended I had somewhere else to be, leaving on my own. I hid not far from Vincent's apartment and, when I saw Sophia going carrying a bottle, I finally let myself relax. This accident would not be changed by my rebirth. Because Vincent was starting a business, he was renting a 30-plus-year-old 3-story building way out in the suburbs, but it was very close to the factory space he intended to lease. Because the rent was cheap, Vincent simply swung his hand and rented all 6 units in the building as staff dormitories. When the fire broke out, his employees were all working overtime at the factory and hadn't returned yet, so in that previous life I was the only victim of that fire. Not until Vincent's room caught fire did I see anyone else enter the apartment, and I finally let out a sigh of relief. I wanted Vincent to return to the destiny line he was meant to follow, but I didn't want to make anyone else suffer. This time, without my help, Vincent was sent to the hospital with burns all over his body. Like in my previous life, he lost his right hand and 3 fingers on his left. Vincent's friend came storming over to me, pointed at my nose and spat, "Bella, you've got no conscience. Vincent is lying in the hospital like this, and you don't even go see him. Bella, I never thought you'd be this kind of person." When Vincent was fine you clung to him, and when he got hurt you ran far away. I scoffed. Vincent got hurt and suddenly remembered me? Aren't you the ones who always say I'm not good enough? Why don't you go find Sophia? Didn't you say she and Vincent were made for each other? What, Vincent's disfigured and crippled, so kind and innocent Sophia is supposed to abandon him? When Vincent and I were dating, our pure, ever-present Sophia always had time to follow us around. She wouldn't suddenly be too busy just because Vincent got hurt, would she? They were silenced by my words, and after muttering "You're ruthless" they turned and left. I snorted coldly, ignored the classmates gossiping about me, and left with them. These opportunistic little people trying to morally blackmail me, a bunch of sycophants who step on others to prop themselves up. Don't be fooled by their righteous words for Vincent now. The moment he truly falls from grace, they'll be the first to kick him. But I still went to the hospital, not to see Vincent, but to collect what was owed. Vincent lay wrapped in bandages, his eyes vacant as he stared at the ceiling. When he saw me, his eyes finally lit up. "Bella, you're finally here. I've been waiting for you for so long." I had no patience for his halting, feeble nonsense. The familiar acrid smell of medicine made phantom pains ripple through my body. I was irritable and cut him off bluntly. "Waiting for me? Waiting for what? Shouldn't you be expecting Sophia to take care of you? After all, you spent your Valentine's night with Sophia." Vincent's pupils trembled. "You saw? Sophia came to get back together with me, but I didn't agree." Holding her and nibbling each other on the windowsill doesn't count as agreeing? I wouldn't even dare to hear you say that. I was getting more and more irritable. "All right, enough of this nonsense. Give me back my 500,000, and we'll call it quits. Do whatever you want." Vincent looked wounded, his face full of pain. "They told me before that you only liked the rich, that you could only share wealth but not hardship." I didn't believe it. I didn't expect that the moment I got hurt you'd be so eager to break up. "Stop." I glared at him coldly. "Don't use that moral blackmail on me. I won't fall for it. Return the money." Vincent let out a painful wail, then his expression changed. He glanced at himself in surprise, then looked at me in shock. "Bella, what happened to the scars on you? Your hand, it's healed? Why am I the one lying in the hospital bed?" Vincent had been reborn too. I laughed. I felt the phantom pain in my body begin to ease. "Why wasn't it you? You betrayed me and met Sophia in the apartment. This is your fate." Vincent couldn't believe it. "But, didn't you push me away?" Then his eyes widened. "You were reborn too?" I tugged the corners of my mouth. "Have you been burned in the head? What nonsense are you talking? Reborn this, reborn that, don't try to play dumb and avoid paying back your debt." Vincent still didn't know that the worst part wasn't the pain when he first woke up in the hospital, but the repeated, irrecoverable disappointments after each treatment, the way others looked at him with strange eyes, and the powerlessness of no longer being able to handle even the simplest tasks in life. He was meant to savor all those hopes one by one. Vincent still couldn't believe I'd be so heartless. "I'm still in the hospital and you want to ask me for money? In my past life, after you were burned, I was the one who married you." I frowned. "Have you gone insane? What past life? If you don't pay me back, I'll call all your friends and family and make them chip in. I already paid it for my son." Vincent's parents, who had just arrived, glared at me with disgust when they heard my words. "How much?" "I'll pay. I've said it all along, women like her are rotten at the root. You didn't believe me and insisted on dating her." I couldn't have cared less about what Vincent's parents thought of me. They had disliked me from the start, adamantly opposed Vincent marrying me, and whenever something didn't go their way after the wedding, they came to yell at me to vent. All I want now is to get my money back. Vincent's mother transferred me 500,000, I returned the IOU I'd made Vincent write a few days earlier. After leaving the hospital, I stopped paying attention to Vincent. But some classmates kept bringing him up in my ear on purpose. So I learned that after Vincent was discharged he married Sophia. When the topic came up, some people in the crowd looked at me with contempt and loudly praised Sophia's kindness and the sacred love between them. I didn't care about any of that. Once I had my diploma in hand, I would leave the city and have nothing more to do with them, let them think whatever they wanted. Half a year later, I suddenly saw news about Vincent and Sophia again. Sophia's face was pixelated, but I recognized her at a glance. Large patches of blood still splattered her body. She tore at her throat and shouted, "He forced me. He forced me to kill him. He screamed in pain every day, beat me, cursed me, said all the suffering was my fault. He even tried to set me on fire. He wanted to turn me into a monster like him. I had no choice, I had to kill him first." Vincent's mother was being held back, struggling desperately to get to Sophia, shouting, "Give me back my son. You venomous woman. Give me back my son." After Sophia was imprisoned, netizens dug up more details. There was more to it. Apparently Sophia and Vincent had both been involved with a friend. When it was discovered, the group conspired to silence them, but unexpectedly they were caught by Vincent's parents who dropped by. I stretched, looked out at the sunny weather, and wondered whether I should call a friend and go celebrate with a hot pot.